Well, hello, distance learners. Today I wanted to talk you through a few different steps of how to make your pencil holder, which is kind of like a mug. At school, we're making a clay mug with texture. You would do the same. I don't know that you'll have enough for a handle, but a cylinder of sorts with a base. The first one I made, you can see kind of cracked a little bit, so I went a little too thin, but it hardens, which is kind of awesome, and then you can paint it at home. So you have some air dry clay. This is actually a really hard material to work with. It's not as soft as ceramics clay. So it is sculpted and it will harden over time, but it takes a little bit of time to get there. I'm hoping that you have brought it, that you have made a template. So I said like an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. And what that does is then I know this is how big I need to roll out my slab of air dry clay. And that's what we're doing here at school, just with ceramics clay. So it's very similar. If you can, find something that is decently hard to roll out. I tried a water bottle, did not work. So a better option would be like a plastic cup, or even if it's okay with someone at your family to use a rolling pin, it washes off pretty good. That would be awesome. The table works great. And so that's what I'm using, and then some little cup of water. Okay, so that's kind of what you need to get started. I'll show you first how to kind of start the process here. I'm using a clay knife, but if you have a butter knife, that would be really great. And I'm going to kind of overlap them and press them down. So I'm trying to make a slab of clay, which is a big piece of clay, roughly the size of my template. I'm using my palm, and I will keep flipping in order, and you can kind of pinch it, but it takes a little bit to get going. Right now I'm piecing this together to get this slab going. And then I'm gonna roll it for a little bit and see how well that is working out. And I will constantly flip. It really feels like a frosting. I can spend a little bit of time trying to smooth this. I'm gonna just dip my finger in water, and I'm not gonna do too much water, but just enough to help kind of some of the areas. I'm pressing pretty hard. You actually have to press pretty hard with this air dry clay. I'm flipping back over. Now I know that mine is not matching my template at this point, but I don't want to get much thinner than that. So I'm really trying to pay attention to how thin it's getting. In the meantime, this chunk is really thick, so I'm going to kind of clean up what I have going on just to get the right slab shape. I could have a clean edge, or I could have a jaggedy edge at the end if I wanted. That is your choice. So I still have a whole chunk. This is just 2 pieces right here that I've used for this. Getting close to my slab, feeling really good about it. So I could keep it like this, which is great. I can tell I'm a little bit shorter, but that's not an awful thing. I could have probably used some of my third piece, but I just wanted to make sure I have enough. So as you can see, I'm cutting, and this is how you would make that fabulous slab that will turn into like a pencil holder. So I have some cuts here. I'm gonna continue to smooth that and get that all organized and take some time with that. So this would maybe be your first day just to get this. It's time consuming. You might get further along, you might not. But I wanna make sure that this is really done well before I start to build something. So I'm going to dip my finger in water and just try to get rid of a little water with this, those cracks. I really wanted you distance learners to use something different than ceramics clay, but not also something that we used already, so you can experience something. So I will tell you that maybe you've used something like this, maybe you haven't. So I'm just trying to smooth some of those little cracks and get those the best I can. Okay, it's getting there. It takes a little time. This is a very slow material. Ceramics clay is much faster. It's much more moldable, more plastic. It has more water in it, that's why. All right, so now I have a decent slab, and that would be how you would begin. You'd also want to, that's it for the slab. Okay? If you need to store this because it's time to clean up at that point, then I would put this in some kind of Ziploc or saran wrap so it doesn't dry out before you're done building it. So just like before, I would put this in some kind of bag and your extra piece in some kind of bag, and then this is how I would store it.